But what I can tell you from firsthand experience is that you should absolutely kill the noise. And if you're in the midst of transitioning, the only thing that matters right now is what you want to do, the details around what you want to accomplish, the why behind what you want to do, and know your metrics. You need to make X amount of money. You need to do this in time. All you need to know is what you want. The rest will come. I promise you.
Hello, Embracing Only family. So excited to be here with you. It's Olivia and Archita today on Real Talk, and we have some very meaty topics. I feel like we start every episode saying we have very meaty topics. This one's seriously meaty. I just have a really exciting announcement that I will let the person make themselves. But we have a new recruit into the life of building a portfolio career, and it happens to be our co-host. And I cannot wait for her to share everything about transition, as we're going to break it down today, alignment, and how they both work hand in hand as we both look and navigate into this next journey. And as many of you are probably navigating with the winds of change that we see and the chaos that we see around us. So, Olivia, so excited to celebrate your latest transition. Tell us everything about it.
Archita, I'm so excited to be with you here today. I have so much to share with our audience. I think this is the period in my life where the transition has really gotten real for me because I've done something that I've never done before. And I'm officially pivoting out of corporate and into entrepreneurship full time. It's time.
She's doing it. She's doing it. How exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I have to say to people, here's the deal. If you're trying to pivot to entrepreneurship because you think it's going to be easier, girl, go ahead and clutch your pearls because I promise you it is not easier in these streets. It is not easier. So I think your reasons for pivoting out of corporate, you got to be really clear with them. And what I want to talk about today is the alignment topic that you mentioned, because while I'm pivoting out of corporate and into entrepreneurship, I'm also continuing to coach during my own transition. And I'm hearing a lot of people say to me these days that, oh, the market this and the market that and the market this. If y'all don't stop paying attention to the doggone market, the market does not define you. If you are in alignment, the abundance will come. And I am happy to share why I'm saying that, but it continues to be something that I find to be true with a lot of clients that have pivoted and stayed true to themselves. They are not broken in a ditch somewhere. I promise you they are not. And as I just pivoted, I got an opportunity this morning out of the blue that's going to very easily plug the hole that my corporate paycheck used to fill. And it's uncomfortable because you don't know where it's coming from, but it's coming, right? That intentional work is coming. So for anyone out there that is attempting to pivot into something that calls you, I would encourage you to do it. I would encourage you to find a coach to help you navigate the transition. But what I can tell you from firsthand experience is that you should absolutely kill the noise. And if you're in the midst of transitioning, the only thing that matters right now is what you want to do, the details around what you want to accomplish, the why behind what you want to do, and know your metrics. You need to make X amount of money. You need to do this in time. All you need to know is what you want. The rest will come. I promise you.
So first of all, you need to slow down. You did not get to this point just with all this clarity yesterday to today, or even across 2 weeks. This took time. This took a lot of time. I'm just rewinding to the time when I just left. And I want to also share with our audience, we're not sitting here extolling the benefits of leaving corporate at all. It's one of the billion choices that exist. And to both of us, these were the choices we made. Yes. But there were lots of other choices, Olivia, you made before you got to this point. And I feel like it's valuable to also help folks understand that what were those ebbs and flows that kept pulling you back. They were like text messages. They were like virtual slaps both ways on all ends and all, come on, stay focused, let's go, let's pull, what is that date, and all of this stuff, because it is a journey. And for me, being 2 years into this, I was talking to someone this morning and I was telling them, I'm continuing to reinvent myself 2 years in, right, into new things. But there's this whole process. And the reason I want to walk through the process is not to say, use this process to leave corporate, but more specifically is to like take time to do that evaluation consistently to check if you are most in alignment with what you're doing at that point in time. It could be the role. It could be the next new role you want. It could be whatever you're doing right now. But I think it would be helpful for folks to learn more about your process, Olivia, with regards to this transition that happens to be like out of corporate for now in your life.
Yeah, it's such an interesting question that like we don't have time. My whole coaching program was born out of unraveling exactly what you're talking about, Archita. But if I could sum it up, here's what I would tell people. Your first thing, you need to understand what your passions and your values are. So rewind probably a decade ago. I kid you not. It's been that long of a journey, right? So a decade ago, so we're talking 2015, okay? I was still at my old job, which was at a medical device company. I absolutely loved the culture. I loved the people that I worked with. In 2015, I was going through a transition, right? So my husband had just gotten promoted. We needed to relocate from San Jose to Sheboygan, Michigan. Okay. So I'm in Sheboygan, Michigan, the sad Sheboygan, you guys, not the fun Sheboygan. There's a Sheboygan in Wisconsin that's like the college town. That's the fun Sheboygan. I was in the sad Sheboygan. Okay. There was nothing there. It was terrible. So we moved to the middle of nowhere. And in order to do my job, I was an HR partner supporting the commercial side of the business. For all intents and purposes, it was a big job. It was a highly coveted job. I got to work with the all-stars at this particular company. We were doing some big things. We were doing acquisitions. We were doing merging sales forces. Like from the outside, you'd be like, what's your problem? This job is like the best thing ever. What started to happen is I was on a plane every week. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was literally, and because of where Sheboygan was, especially in the winter, because the winter in Sheboygan is 3/4 of the year. Okay. It's just like a bit of spring and then winter. During the winter, I kept getting stuck in Detroit because I was taking a little puddle hopper from Detroit to Sheboygan. And I got to the point where I was like, this does not work for me anymore. Okay. So this is the universe talking to me in terms of pain. This travel doesn't work for me anymore. I'm living out of suitcases during the summer when we're doing our cultural surveys. I'm not necessarily hitting all my financial goals on top of all of the travel. And mostly, I think from a values and a passion perspective, I was getting to coach. I was getting to develop, which are my passions. My job in my mind is to create other leaders, to see people win. Yeah. I was getting to do that, but the pain and the travel was offsetting the pleasure of the coaching, et cetera. And I wasn't hitting my financial goals. Somewhere around this time, my husband and I also decided that our ultimate goal was to get back to Jamaica. Okay, sure. We have aging parents. We want to move back to Jamaica. That's where we want to retire. So the planning had started for that, which is why I'm saying I wasn't hitting my financial goals, because I needed to figure out how to make some more money because we were on a 10-year plan, right? That's 2015, the 10-year plan for Jamaica started. Fast forward, I continued to do that a bit, leveraged my network, was able to get myself promoted, which meant switching divisions within the company. So I switched divisions to hit a goal that I had wrote for myself. Switched over again. It was wonderful. Did an acquisition, developed some skills that I needed because I knew I wanted to be a VP. So I needed to figure out how to lead an acquisition, how to integrate, how to build culture so everything that I needed to be a VP of HR, I was getting those skills in this new role. Again, I knew the ultimate goal was to go be a VP of HR and needed these skills to do that. And that VP title also aligned with the compensation that I needed for my personal plan of heading back to Jamaica. Great. So I get over there. And now I'm bumping my head up. A sequence of events happen, and I'm smashing my head up against the glass ceiling. When I tell people there's a process to figure out if you can win where you sit or if it's time to pivot, I went through the process and realized it was probably time to pivot, right? As luck would have it, the minute I went through that exercise and was like, all right, I've made up my mind, it's time to pivot, I got a phone call. Right. I got a phone call from a seemingly amazing company with the culture that I was looking for, or would allow me to build things from scratch, which is what I was looking for, to sharpen my toolkit. Because I knew the ultimate goal was to shift into a fractional HR or a consultative HR role or executive coaching. So I was three things very interested in: coaching, fractional, or consulting HR work. And so I needed to prepare myself for these things. This next step seemed to check all the boxes. Girl, I did this step, and this is going to happen. I laugh because, you guys, this is everything that you do, you have to check and adjust. Your process could be the best process on earth. But even if you have the best process on earth, you have to check and adjust. So took the opportunity that checked, I'd say 5 of 7 boxes that I needed it to check. Holy hell, were those 2 check marks that it didn't check relevant?
Okay? We know that. We know that.
And what I found is those 2 check boxes in order of priority for me were low. And then what I realized when I didn't have them, I was like, oh my God, they're higher for me than I thought.
Yes. Because you got that naturally in your previous places and you didn't, or there were aspects of those. And I want you to talk about those priorities here in a bit, because we've had those conversations where I had a direct conversation about you, about those 2 checkpoints. And you're like, oh no, I'm used to fight or flight. I'm used to this. Like, this is normal. Like, I can handle this. This is not a big deal. Because also you come from a military background. You've built an entire whole career before your corporate career on learning to fight, a system that wasn't designed for you, like, period. And so when you stepped into this new space, you're just like, okay, I know this does not fulfill that need, but that's okay. I understand it. I get it. Because I remember these conversations where you were because this is the thing I want to also highlight is what I love what Olivia shared is that she had a personal goal. I think that's really critical. A lot of times people are chasing titles, they're chasing the next thing because that's what everybody says you need to do by this age or at this point in time or whatever, right? So she had a personal goal. She created the plan towards her personal goal. But along the way, sometimes we also start justifying decisions we make in pursuit of our personal goals. And I know, Olivia, if you're watching the video, you'll see Olivia raise her eyes up. And this is like wherein, you need your people around you. You need your coaches. You need your friends. You need people to put a mirror up, because otherwise that is a sure shot way. If you continue to do that over an extended period of time, forget burnout. It's just like a complete lack of interest in what you're doing anymore. That it turns into a complete lack of control, which you saved yourself from spectacularly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Cream. If you are a corporate girly and you are struggling, you're feeling stuck, maybe you're feeling underpaid, overqualified, you're struggling with your boss, or bigger yet, you're even trying to clearly articulate what it is that you want from your corporate career, I am the coach for you. So if you're ambitious and you've got goals to accomplish and you want to accomplish them quickly, check out my website, oliviacream.com. I would love to help you reach your goals.
Hi, everybody. I'm Archita Fritz, your other host of the Embracing Only podcast. If you're ready to leave corporate, or you've changed a couple of corporate jobs and want to start a profitable side brilliance, you've made the decision, but you feel unsure of the next steps, here's how I can help you. I can guide you through a successful transition to entrepreneurship to help turn those ideas into profit. So reach out to me on LinkedIn or visit me on architafritz.com to accelerate your empowered transitions. Now, back to the episode.
Yes. Well, two things. One, you guys, control is a myth. Let's just throw that out there. I am one that loves to try to control the controllables. Control is a myth. You absolutely have some things within your power. But if your goal is to control every single minute detail of your life, I don't even know what to tell you because it's just not going to happen. You have to be okay with some things that you cannot control. But Archita, you said something so impactful there. I just want to repeat it for the audience. Your network, when you are going through these things, has to be bulletproof. Okay. Because the only reason that I realized that I was creating another environment, I want to say that again. I was creating another environment that ironically I would not love, is because I had people like you, like Christy Rutherford, like Janine, like some others that were like, girl, didn't you just say that you don't like this? And here you are doing it again. You're doing it, right? It's such an important point because as humans, it is so easy to spot the patterns in other people's behavior. And so hard, even for someone that like me, that I like to think my ability to be self-reflective is incredible. Lights out, right? I'm the most self-reflective human. You miss things when you're in the weeds. You miss things when it's just you in a corner, especially for all of us introverts out there, which I totally am. When you're stewing in a corner and coming up with your plan, you absolutely miss things. And you'll continue to repeat the same cycles if you don't have people that know you, that love you, that you trust, that have also been where you are. This is important. You can't be asking people for advice that have never done what you're trying to do. You're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Okay. You have to find people that are willing to tell you the truth, to virtually smack you. You guys, I get so many virtual smacks from Archita, I can't even tell you.
we both have like red cheeks, not because of blush, but real smacks from each other. Reminders.
Yes, but you absolutely have to have it. Absolutely.
Yes, let's go through this process. So you've gone through this. You recognize that, hey, this is not what, those two matter more than anything else, right? So that then created a complete realignment because it didn't shift your personal goals. Your personal goals stayed intact, but it actually sped them up beautifully. So share that a little bit because what you created right now, Olivia, is unbelievable. And people need to hear this freedom that everyone's chasing that you have now created for yourself.
I feel like I'm going to probably make you ask me specific questions because I don't know which part of this you want me to share. But I think a couple things. One, over the years, I've been very good with money. And you guys will always hear me come back to this because if you are operating from a place of desperation, oh my God, I have to figure out today how I'm going to eat. It eliminates your ability to be creative and innovative, and it puts pressure on you when you're trying to make these pivots that work against you. So there is this baseline that I tell people you have to get to a point where you're at least comfortable from a financial perspective that it allows the pivot, okay? It allows the pivot. So you're not operating from desperation mode. Desperation mode does not work when you're trying to do these kind of things. So my husband and I, like I said, our freedom plan started a decade ago, back in 2015. And listen, I'm going to be super vulnerable here because I think the audience needs to know that you have to get comfortable talking about money if you want to free yourself. So back in 2015, both my husband and I, I was 3 years out of the military, and girl, I liked my red bottoms and I liked my luxury purses and I liked to go out and party. And my husband and I, two, coasties, we would go out and spend, $200, $250 on booze a night. Just like we were living by the seat of our pants. We had not a ton saved up because we weren't thinking about that. We were just like, whoa, we're making money. We're in our late 20s, early 30s. We're making money. Let's party. So in 2015, when we got a collective goal for this marriage, we started to save. Between 2015 and today, we have put away just over $1 million in assets and savings. We're talking assets and liquid cash, right? Because you need the cash if you're going to do something big like move or something like that. You need the liquid cash as well. So from a financial perspective, and listen, I am not a financial wizard, okay? If you guys want a financial wizard, you need to talk to JJ, go sign up for her financial coaching plan. That girl went from broke to millionaire in 7 years, which is a lot faster than I did. She's got a real strategy for you in terms of finances, but we had to get the finances right to allow us the mental capacity to be able to focus on, okay, what does this pivot look like, right? Mm-hmm. So fast forward outside of the finances, ensuring that 1, we had an emergency fund. 2, we had plenty of cash. 3, we had plenty of assets. So should anything go haywire here, or we could try our dream, and if it didn't work, we were still okay. Like we didn't end up on our faces. So everything that Archita and I are telling you here is it's not, oh, girl, quit your job. F them people. Girl, no, we are not about to destroy lives over here. You have to do it carefully, and that looks different for everyone, right? So the money part we figured out. Then fast forward, I think here's the point that I want to make to everyone. You cannot leave yourself stranded to be a victim of whatever environment you happen to enter in. Okay? You guys have heard me say this before, that hiring is an exercise in risk mitigation. Onboarding is an exercise in risk mitigation. You don't know what you don't know about a company until you're in it. You just don't know. You can do all the research, you can do all the checks and balances, but you don't know what you're going to get until you're in it. And in my situation, I got one bad, I was in, the person that hired me absolutely loved him. He went out with some health issues. Another person came in. My environment blew the F up. Okay. It went from great to trash overnight. So in a situation like that, you always want to make sure you're comfortable enough to save yourself. And when I say save yourself, here is what I mean. And truly, you guys, I will say this. The experience that I had, and this is not negative, it's just life, right? Sometimes you make a misstep and that's fine. But what I learned here is I was so focused on my financial goals, back to the priorities, that I did not pay attention to needing mutual trust and respect in the workplace and needing cultural fit in the workplace. Okay. I had put aside those 2 things and said, I can fit in and figure it out because the money is where I need to be to close this gap to get to the freedom, the Jamaica goal that I was after. And what I realized is, holy hell, those are baseline things for me. If there's not mutual trust and respect, if the culture is not good, there is not enough money on this planet to get me to sign up for that from this point on, right? So I had to learn a really big lesson for myself because, as you said, Archita, coming from the military, we're not talking about culture. A job is a job. It's fine. You can survive anything for a little bit. That was my old mentality. I promise you, depending on how bad your environment is, it literally takes from you every day. Yes. And what you don't realize is the longer you stay in an environment that is misaligned to your core values, that is misaligned to your passions, it dims your light every day until there's nothing left. And then you don't even have enough of yourself to focus on what you actually want to do because you're questioning your humanity every day. You're questioning, oh my God, am I actually good at my job because I feel like I'm trash at my job? You're questioning, oh my God, did I really mess that up? Did I make that mistake or am I crazy? You're questioning, am I aggressive? Did I really upset people or am I being gaslit, right? You fill yourself with so much doubt that by the time you realize it, you wake up and you're a shadow of your former self. You can do nothing from that place.
No, gosh, so much stuff in there. First of all, congratulations and kudos. You've not gotten to that sweet spot, which is she's going to Jamaica. And ladies and gentlemen and everyone, she's actually living out that 10-year dream, which I think is, or the plan, not even just a random dream, right? A really well thought out plan. But to your point, there's this much control you had over that plan. Now, one direction is chase the next big role with the next big paycheck. and end up in spaces that don't respect you, that the culture doesn't support you, etc. But also recognizing, like, technically speaking, you could have been there for another couple of years, because that's like was the ultimate plan, right? Another year or two, right? That was the ultimate plan. But you recognize, gosh, no, like, you had made all these right decisions to this point with regards to money and, like, with regards to alignment, that it gave you that choice and it gave you that freedom to take that step back. And I want to talk about that taking a step back, because sometimes, and when I say step back, it doesn't mean you're taking a step back in like your progress forward, but not choosing to continue to stay in the arena. And sometimes people believe that, oh, not choosing to stay is only designed for people with A, B, C, D, E. Or I have some people message me and, I really wish I get the severance packet that everyone's just been getting for free because they're getting rid of the bunch of the workforce. That'll be so much easier. Like, all of this nonsense. But the reality is, you could have all of that stuff aligned, right? You could have the money in the bank, you could have time, you could have everything. But if you don't have a sense of self during that time of transition that you create or it's created for you, none of those steps will add up to anything that will move you forward. And so as you look at your life in general, and as we look at evaluating, what I would really request everyone to do is take a step back, per se, in looking in to understand what it is. We talk about this so much, but what it is that you really, truly want, and how are you building a life in alignment towards what you want? That when things go bump in the night, like in any way, shape, or form, you can realign to what you kind of solidified for yourself with regards to what it is that you want.
100%. And to get a little bit tactical here, you have to look at every area of your life. Family. I have aging parents. I've got needs, right? Community, spirituality, what you do for fun. Oh my God, we miss that bucket all the time. How are you decompressing? What do you do for fun? What are your activities? Are you working out? Are you eating healthy? Your fitness. What about your relationships, your friendships, right? When you look at your entire life, and there are templates, and I've shared this before, the Book the Five, Where Do You Want to Be 5 years from now, has a great template. It's on page 18. I think it's called The Wheel of Life. Archita, I've done that Wheel of Life.
I have that with
every single transition.
Yes.
Every single transition, yes. I redo it.
Yes.
Just to make sure that I'm not betraying myself in pursuit of the goal.
Yes, it's so valuable. There's Ikigai, there's the Wheel of Life. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, gives you a chance I do this quarterly just because in this new life of solopreneurship, as I said, I'm constantly reinventing myself and having to learn okay, this is what I'm enjoying, or I'm not enjoying this as much. And why is that the case? And when I was in corporate, like, we have a job description, and the job is to love the job and exceed expectations in that job, right? So you don't question it. You're like, no, that's the job. The job is to love the job. Like, how do I make this a great job? And I think if I were still in corporate, like, one of the things I would probably ask myself to do is that check in with myself every 3 months. Am I still loving what I thought I would love to do because I took on this job? And if not, what do I need to change? Because a lot of times in corporate too, we end up sitting there and thinking like, yeah, I signed up for it. I'm amazing. I'm doing all of this work. The company needs to do nothing. My manager needs to. No, your manager needs to do nothing. I was talking to someone, one of my clients, and it's very young, early in his career, a new transition, helping bring on a new chief marketing officer. And he's like, this CMO, he didn't put time in my calendar for a one-on-one. I'm like, okay, do you know how to do it? Let's go. Let's do it. I was like, there's no excuse because we cannot, because this is the part you said about saving yourself, right? Like, we literally give the reins up a lot of times in these situations. We've made a choice. It's not going as well as we plan, or it's going great, but it's still an opportunity to check in. And we give the reins to what happens next or how we move things next. And all that power to a title, to a function, to a brand, to whatever, or time. Instead of identifying for ourselves, like, again, what is right for us, more so than from that system.
You are so spot on. And like, at this season of life, I've become so passionate about what you just said, Archita. Let me give you this analogy. If you are a parent, even if you're a fur baby parent, this still applies. You would not give up the ability to make decisions about what is happening with your child to anyone. Like, not even your spouse sometimes. We have a hard time relinquishing that power to our spouse. My fur babies, I just had a fur baby that passed. I'm just now comfortable enough to talk about it, Lennox, and he had a brain tumor. Yeah. So as I'm going to the vet, you should have heard me in there arguing with him. Like, well, what does this mean? And what does this medication do? And what is the side effects? And how is this going to help him? How much time do I get by putting him on this? Does it hurt him? Is he going to be uncomfortable and miserable? Does the medicine make him uncomfortable and miserable? And does that risk reward balance out for 2 months more of life? These are all the questions. I want you to imagine that your career decisions are you making decisions for your inner child. Imagine you're the parent and you're making decisions to protect your inner child. You need to go after your career with that same gusto. If someone's not showing up on time to pick up your kids, you better call them. You better send an email and be like, hey, are we meeting? Hey, you promised to provide this help. Can we get together? Can we chat? You're not waiting, right? If this has something to do with your child, no, you're proactive, right? We have to take the same approach with our careers. And for the love of God, if I hear one more client say my manager should, I might roll out of my chair and die. Okay. Because the data is out there. Go look at Gallup. I think Gallup posted 2 days ago. It was like managers are unprepared. None of the managers feel like they have been developed. This is managers globally in Gallup system, right? I think it said like 60-something% of them felt unprepared to be managers. And here you are surrendering
your power,
your checkpoints, your power, your milestones, your goals, your future to someone that is saying, I'm not prepared for this. Help me. How crazy is that?
That analogy was amazing. And this stat is, I'm hoping for folks listening, is a wake-up call. They don't owe you anything. They are figuring things out just as much as you are. So help yourself, and be proactive. Don't wait for an event. I did this. I don't know if Olivia did this, but like I did this in my career. Like I was proactive, but there were also moments where I hate to say this word out loud, but not complacent, but I was like, oh yeah, this is going to happen. This makes sense. This is the next step, right? And then there's the people around you are like, you're being too pushy. You're being too anxious about this. Let it go. Well, thank you. And no, thank you. I'm going to do this on my time because with what needs to happen. And I'm not saying you're sitting and just bulldozing your way through the next role while you repeat the same mistakes, because we don't want leaders like that either. Because, there's this book that I was reading. I posted about this. It's called Careless People. Like, highly recommend going and reading that book. It's from the whistleblower of Facebook, Sarah Williams, I think is her full name. And she talks about the careless culture at growth at all costs, performance at all costs, and how everything is forgiven for, hey, it's just business. And so you don't want to be that leader because you're probably in a company where growth matters. And it's great. It's an amazing place to be. Like when you're in high performance cultures, growth matters, etc. But you also want to be that leader that is not careless in how they are not just growing their teams, but also growing themselves, right? So listen to that feedback, but at the same time, recognize how you are going to be proactive and how you move forward.
Oh, God, Ajita, I need to double click in what you just said, because I think the growth at all costs, sometimes we do growth at all costs to ourselves.
Yeah.
To ourselves, right? And this is where it becomes important. What is important to you? How do you want to work? How do you want to feel at work? And here's the other thing that tends to be counterintuitive, but I will tell you, for all the business leaders out there, when your people are aligned and engaged, your business grows exponentially.
Yeah.
Because engaged employees significantly outperform non-engaged ones. So it is in your best interest, even if you're a startup, even if you're a small to medium sized company. And when I say small to medium, just to give you some numbers, I'm talking 250, 300 million and lower. Okay.
Yes,
even when you are that size, you have to think, what is this person best at? What is their superpower? What do they do with ease? And how do I align them in the organization to do more of that? Because when we do that, this is org design. When we do that, the corporate term is org design. But when we do that, essentially what we're setting ourselves up for is rapid growth, because now people are performing from a place of ease, of innovation, of creativity, instead of, oh my God, I'm going to get kicked in the teeth today. What do I want to do about it? Your retention goes up, your turnover goes down, your productivity goes up. When people are aligned, it's good for business. You guys, take care of your people. Your people will take care of the mission. And hello, people, take care of yourselves. Don't wait for your company to figure it out for you.
Yes, so many yeses across the board there. As we talk about, I was giving this example today on one of my calls about, in this hustle of like moving forward as individuals, whatever it is, the next goal, the next whatever. Sometimes when we have to, we're fully prepared. Everything is in alignment. Everything is great. But then we have to take a step back and it feels like failure. Okay. And so I'm going to give you an example. So I've been training for this half marathon relay since January. Okay. I've done a bunch of half marathons. That's not the goal. It was just this relay with a group of people that I like, and it was going to be fun, everything. But Olivia knows this, like since the beginning of this year, I've been really struggling with sinus infections and allergies, and it's been a mess. And so Friday rolls along and this race is on Sunday, and it's the largest, 25,000 people. It's huge, right? And so I'm like checking in with myself. I can barely breathe. Okay. I can walk 5 steps and I'm wheezing, right? I can barely breathe. I'm on an inhaler. I'm doing all this other stuff. And my sister, she knew this was going to happen. So she had put the seed in my mind like 2 weeks ago. Listen, you should pull out of the race. You are not, your VO2 max, your body is not physically ready for this. And you're prepared for it. You're ready. You could run the race, but you're going to do your larger mission a disservice. So me, 2 years ago, even like maybe 7 months ago, maybe a year ago, would have been like, okay, I'm going to pop these antibiotics, pop this steroid, which was what they had given me, and then just put on a smile and I'm going to just see it through. Done. Like we're going to make it happen. But I have 2 keynotes coming up over the next 2 weeks, back to back in 2 separate countries. I'm there to be in service of that audience, and I cannot be up there hacking my way, not got my thoughts clear because I'm still feeling sick. And what is the right thing here in pursuit of the larger mission? And so I decided to find a replacement and not run the race. And even saying it out loud makes me feel like I want to pull my skin out, because you're not used to not seeing things through, or you're not used to not accomplishing goals that you've set for yourself, especially when you're prepared for it and you've done all the work. But sometimes the right thing to do, and I'm actually posting about this tomorrow, is to pick up the phone and be the camera and be the cheerleader for all those people that you're going to like cheer on, and take that step back, knowing that this step back is in pursuit of your larger mission, which is serving these audiences coming up. So I want to share that with you, because when I shared this on the call, there were a couple of ladies, actually, none of the men said anything, but the ladies on the call were like, can you imagine? Have we ever done that? We have never stepped back from something we have signed up for. Oh my gosh, now that's pause for thought. So if this is a pause for thought for anyone, if there's anything that you are doing right now that is you're prepared for, it could be the job that you're in, the job that you're applying for. It could be, I don't know, some side project, an entrepreneurial endeavor, whatever, that you're right in the middle of, you're prepared for, you're raring to go, but you have not checked in with how it is most in alignment with your larger mission. Take a moment, please, to do that, because otherwise your legacy, your body, your health, yet everything will be in sacrifice of this short-term achievement.
Yes. And I would also pile on to that by saying, what is the return on investment for your effort? I just want you to ask yourself that. If you think of running your body, your life, like a business, every time you expend energy, what are you getting back? So for you, in this case, Archita, you'd signed up for this thing. You were going to expend energy that was going to bring you diminishing returns. Your health was going to take a hit. It would impact some other things that you had already signed up to be in service of, right? There was no return on investment for that effort. So it was the right choice to say no. I asked everyone listening, anytime you go to do anything, and I'm going to pick on my clients a little bit. I love you guys, but I'm going to pick on you guys a little bit. I get clients that are like, oh, oh, I'm going to get another master's degree, or oh, I'm getting a doctorate, or oh, I'm getting a shop certificate, or oh, I'm doing this PMP thing. And I'm just like, for why? Why are you doing this activity? Why are you getting this certificate? In pursuit of what? And 9 times out of 10, they just look at me like, oh, well, I thought this was what I was supposed to do. Who told you that? Like, we tell ourselves these stories and we expend this energy and we collect these acronyms behind our names and we collect another certificate to put on LinkedIn in pursuit of what, you guys? Like, what are you building and what is it costing you in terms of energy expenditure, and what are you gaining for all these activities? Highly encourage you to ask yourself, what is the return on investment for my energy anytime you get ready to go do something new?
Yes, 100%. I know we're at the end of this episode. And so as we wrap this up, there were so many gems, Olivia, that you dropped here. I want to congratulate you on this amazing, it's freedom of time and money that you've created for yourself right now as you literally pick up your life from Florida and you move to Jamaica into this beautiful home that I'm going to be visiting many times. But so congratulations on that transition. And to everyone listening to us over here, is do that inner work or work with a coach, do whatever you need to figure out what are, across all of that wheel of life that we spoke about, your points of alignment at this time of your life, knowing that it will continuously change. And then check in with yourself regularly, proactively, to help be the Sherpa of your life so that others don't step in to help lead you to where you never planned on going.
Yes, and if I could add one last thing before we leave here, I would say find your tribe. I know we say it all the time, but find them. They are so important in these pivots. Don't make these big decisions in a vacuum. And for the love, you guys, if you're going to find your tribe, please listen to them, right? Just listen to them, even for a second. Just listen.
Yes, on that note, thank you so much for listening, everybody. We'll see you here on a new episode in a new country very soon. Stay well and be well, embracing only community.